All right. Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Savage, Surfrider Foundation. I'm here with you this morning to share some of Surfrider's efforts to ensure that California's beaches are accessible for all to enjoy. These efforts complement the Commission's own education, enforcement, and environmental justice endeavors and are based on the policies enshrined in the Coastal Act. First, we recently celebrated, along with Senator Jerry Hill, the County of San Mateo, and others, the successful inclusion of funding for Tanitas Creek Beach and Martins Beach in the state budget. The opening of Tanitas Creek State Beach to the public will provide an expansive new coastal playground for both locals and visitors, and having money to purchase the easement to Martins Beach will, we hope, motivate the State Lands Commission to act sooner rather than later when it comes to declaring eminent domain and reestablishing the access that has too long been denied. I think about all the families that come from the East Bay and the Central Valley and have been going there for generations. My own husband actually has fond memories of going to Martins Beach with his grandma Dee Dee when he was little, which was a very long time ago. And I can't wait for that gate to be opened and visitors to be welcomed once again. And of course, the Coastal Commission has been such a strong and steady champion in these efforts, so we wanted to thank you for that. I also think a lot about how in this time when our federal administration has essentially declared war on our environment and the majority of the people in it, that we in California really need to double down on ensuring that our state is better than that. And in thinking about the work that Surfrider does in those terms, that translates into increasingly emphasizing not only the letter, but the spirit of the Coastal Act. Surfrider has always fought against tangible barriers to our coast, the gates at Martins and Strands, for example, and we've been expanding our efforts around access to include those less obvious ones. As you know, last year's Access for All report by UCLA found that the cost of travel, parking, and overnight accommodations are major factors preventing Californians from visiting the coast as often as they would like, especially low-income Californians and people who live in inland areas. A related issue that's come to our attention over the past year is the challenges that nonprofit outdoor organizations face when running programs on the coast, particularly in our state parks where they are charged the same use fees as commercial enterprises. This is unfair, counterproductive, and contrary to the coastal and environmental equity the state should be striving for. As you can imagine, this discourages use of our coastal state parks by these programs, which are largely run by women of color and serving inland youth who wouldn't normally be able to get to the beach, much less learn surfing and coastal stewardship. Surfrider is currently supporting an informal coalition comprised of representatives of several of these groups. So far, we've met with state parks and have had an excellent meeting with your staff and with Coastal Conservancy staff. I'm hoping that the Commission will make room on an upcoming agenda for these groups to share in detail their work and the access challenges they continue to face. Finally, what is likely the most profound physical challenge to coastal access: sea level rise and coastal erosion. As the Washington Post described in a story that came out a couple days ago about a new U.S. Geological Survey study, California officials will face an awful choice as the sea rises: save public beaches enjoyed by millions, or close them off with boulders and concrete walls to armor the shore and stop the waves in a bid to save homes. Clearly, this is not news to you or your staff. But the recent heat wave certainly showcases how much every inch of beach counts. In summary, we need to enable more people to get to the beach, even as the beaches themselves are shrinking and can expect it to continue to shrink. So it's quite a conundrum. To that end, we ask you to continue supporting enforcement staff in their quest to ensure free and open public access, to keep weighing social and economic justice considerations in your decisions, to insist on the most proactive and long-term planning when it comes to climate change adaptation, to protect the public's interest by defending our beaches against the impacts of coastal armoring, and to otherwise ensure that California's beaches are there for everyone seeking the joy, comfort, and inspiration of our coast. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.